Hello, everybody, and welcome to Keep It Spiritually Simple. I'm your host, Sandra McEllis. And before I introduce our beautiful guests, I'm going to ask all of you that are listening to take a moment to like, subscribe, share, leave us a comment. It helps the show's algorithms. And I just love all the support to circulate the show. So today I'm sitting down with two women who took their background in nursing, their love of skin, their compassion, and transformed it into a skincare line built with intention. This is more than beauty, it's about healing, empowerment, understanding the skin from the inside out. I'm excited to dig into the story, heart, and the courage behind the brand. So I want to take a big welcome to my local fellow DC gals, Winty and Marjorie. Hello, ladies.
Hi.
Hello.
How are
Hi.
you?
Thank you so much for having us.
Oh my
Thank
goodness,
you.
I'm so excited. Not just because you're local and I know who you are, but to see two people come together and create something that not only is a need to the public, but also something that's really heartfelt and something that's, can use your science background and some of the other things that you've done to create in Clue. And so, is there just some things that maybe, behind the scenes, maybe our listeners might like to hear about how this sort of, became an aha to a light bulb to a cloud to a movement to actual product line?
That's a loaded question.
It is.
That is, that is. To be honest, I think there were a lot of light bulb moments that Winty and I can speak about. I think the first would just be turning 13 years old and going from having the baby, soft, smooth skin, and a light bulb went off in my skin, and hormones kicked in. And so did oily skin, acne, scarring, irritation, and a total makeover that wasn't the favorable kind, in the sense that there was just it wasn't, I never felt my best at those years. So we were constantly going to dermatologists and skincare specialists and estheticians, and at that time there was really just nothing for teen skin, nothing that was healthy, so everything had a limited time use, right? Like you could only use this particular product for so long because then it could get into your system and it would cause this thyroid problem or this issue with your cycle or hormones. So eventually, after so many years of trying to figure it out, I gave up. And I was like, you know what? I'm done. I don't want anything else. And we just agreed to go on birth control pills. And that was that. And then when I got into my 20s, I tried to wean off the birth control pills, but again, my acne would come back. So at this point, we just continue on with life, and I'm in my nurse anesthesia training where I meet Winty. And Winty and I actually became fast friends. The whole connection was off of a mentor who wanted to connect people of color within the nurse anesthesia field, because they're less than 5% of nurse anesthetists are of minority background. So we connected based on that, but we became friends for so many reasons. We're both section. We are the eldest siblings. We obviously had a passion for nursing and nurse anesthesia. We were very excited to start this new venture in our lives, and we had similar aspects of our personality, but where we connected really was with the skincare. She actually had pretty much the same story as I did. So then it kind of became our thing, our hobby. I would try something new, then I tell her about it, or she'd try something new and she'd tell me about it. But the next light bulb moment was when I approached her. I said, listen, I've been consulting with these two doctors about starting a skincare line. And I really wanted something that looked and reflected my experience more than anything else. And we have the same experience, and I bet we're not the only two. And I think we should look into starting this. And then by chance, Winty was in the middle of her own unique experience. I'll let her elaborate on that, but that was really the start of our collaboration.
Thank you. All right, Winty, what's your thoughts on this?
Yes, it was definitely a personal journey that before it became a business idea. And so along with the struggles I had with my skincare that Marjorie elaborated on, I became a mother and I had a third grader at the time. And it was my daughter, and she comes home from school and she's just, devastated. She had a classmate refer to her skin tone color as being dirty. And that, and she said, you know what? I think she's right. My skin color is the color of poop. So it is dirty. And I tried to encourage her. I tried to reassure her how beautiful her skin tone is. And it did not work. She just didn't believe me. So I really had to take a step back and think, like, how am I, you know, what is going through is similar to what I went through as a young kid. And nothing is changing over these years. So when Marjorie approached me with the idea of starting something that can really be impactful and also, you know, with the education focus, and it was just a no-brainer. It was, yeah, it made me feel like this is the answer. And we were very excited to talk about how we can take not only our science backgrounds as being healthcare professionals and understanding the science behind skincare, but we can also take our compassion and our being a mother, and we understand the impact of self-esteem, self-confidence, and we can marry everything together and create something really beautiful.
Well, I applaud you both because, I think when we experience something and find that there isn't a demand out there, meaning you're not finding what you need and you're in a demand and you're in an acute situation of, I need to resolve this, we know what that feels like. And then when we watch our kids go through it, it's like somebody has got to stop this and create
Mhm.
something that
Mm.
is going to resolve, because this is emotional, this is mental, this is physical, this is our health. And, I have been in the medical field, so I know what happens when a teenage acne person comes in. It's doxycycline, it's Accutane,
Mhm.
and then that's not working. Now let's try this. So they're constantly feeling like there's something wrong with them.
Right.
So they always have to do this extreme fix that then creates more visits to the doctors, because you have to monitor blood and urine and what's happening in the body, right? Chemistry wise. So if we can resolve some of this with higher quality topical, along with working on the other things as you all do, because health, nutrition, your
Mhm.
mindset, all those are critical, right? But so let's talk about the two products that you all started with. And let's talk about what your goal was for those two specific products and how, walk us through, like, okay, we have this great idea. Now we're going to do this, and this is what we want. Now, how do we create it? How do we get together with a company that does this with us? And then how does the company actually listen to what we want? How do we not cut corners,
Mhm.
because it would dilute our end goal here? So could you all walk us through that, please? Jump in,
Well, I'm
ladies,
sorry.
one of you.
We're nurses first. And the thing about nursing is that you do your research and you do a lot of background information. It's the same, right? A patient comes in, and before you treat them, it's really important to know their background, to know what their past medical history is. I mean, that's just intrinsic to nursing. And so with this, even though we collaborated just, on this idea, we thought, okay, let's do our research now. Now it's time to do our homework. We know what our experiences were, but now it's time to figure it out. So we studied what the skincare industry was, what the size of it is, what most people feel about it, right? Learning that over 50% of consumers, female consumers, are not happy with their skincare. Understanding what was out there in terms of teen products. What are the hormone dysregulators? What are the cancer causing ingredients? What is the difference between ingredients that are accepted here and accepted outside of the United States? Was there a difference? Why is it accepted here? And then more importantly, Wintai and I took the time and energy and created focus groups. We got friends of ours and coworkers to bring their kids in, and we brainstormed with these kids. We talk to their parents. What is it that you're looking for? What are you missing? What are you concerned about? What are your challenges with them? A cousin of mine is a teacher in a public school, and we got those kids together on a Zoom call, and we asked them the same questions, and we really spent time investigating and researching and understanding our target demographic in every way, from how they felt about skincare to how they felt about social issues to how they felt about environmental issues, everything. And then we sat down and talked about how we were going to formulate our products.
Well, that was really smart. You got to hear from the horse's mouth, the kids and the
Kids,
Yeah.
parents that are out there. Wintai, what do you want to add to that?
And then from there, we researched ingredients. We researched the synergistic effects of multiple ingredients, and we decided on what our goals are for the two products we would launch with. And we wanted to keep things simple in that kids don't need to layer on multiple serums, multiple things. They just need something simple. So we started with a cleanser and a moisturizer. So after we researched the ingredients, we made our list and, you know, the goals we had. Then we researched labs, and we found a US lab, and we, you know, made an appointment with a chemist, and we really just went through down the line with each ingredient and really teased through what are effects, what are the goals that we want to have, and how do those ingredients help us reach those goals. And she gave us some suggestions. It was really good. And I do want to piggyback and talk about the time we took to develop our brand ethos and our value proposition. That was really important. Sitting down and getting those that framework for our brand really solidified, because that helped guide us through every decision that we've had to make since the inception of, or the idea of creating Include. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about, I know for me, being in the aesthetic side of it, and then also working for cosmetic companies, I am shocked at what is in these products over the counter. And even the general public that's coming in to purchase these, they're going for what's been commercialized, what's on TikTok, what's my friend using, right? Even though everybody's skin type is a little bit different, and everyone's has different problematic issues that they're trying to resolve. I mean, I've come across 14-year-olds who have one pimple who will literally fall down and cry saying they have acne. And you have to work with that, right? And so everyone's going for salicylic, everyone's going for a scrub, everyone's going for this or for that. So let's walk through some of the ingredients in which you felt were super important that would pinpoint and target, a little more of a broader, but also narrow it in for an issue.
That's a great question. Winta, do you want me to take the cleanser and you take the moisturizer?
Sure.
You can shift that. So the cleanser, the unique feature about the cleanser was that it's a clay cleanser. Oh, it's a clay cleanser. So we learned that clay, in this case, Moroccan lava clay, is soothing and it's purifying. Oops, I apologize. It's purifying, it's soothing, and it's protective of acne-prone, oily skin. We wanted something that was gentle and something that would help to relieve the oil production, purify pores, and do this in a gentle way. We wanted something that would exfoliate. The thing with younger skin is that they naturally exfoliate 14 times faster than adult skin. But they're also producing a lot of, their sebaceous glands are very active because of their hormones. So they're producing a lot of oil. So we didn't want something that would add to exfoliation like adult skin. That's unnecessary, but we needed something that would clarify at the same time. So we were big on the clay cleanser. That was a must. Sulfates and lather type cleansers actually dry out their skin, and then it increases more oil and it causes more clogged pores. So that was a big deal. We also wanted to replace the hydration, so it was really important that we had oils and hydrating ingredients to help replenish that hydration for the younger skin. We used a mixed fruit citrus extract so that the exfoliation could happen in a very gentle way that was specific for younger skin. We had the benefit of we have glycerin, we have several key features that, yes, you'll see them overlap with adult products, but really we wanted key features to help cleanse, purify, and exfoliate young skin in a very gentle but effective way.
Awesome. Yeah, because a lot of people think of clay as drying,
Yeah.
right? And also when we have oily skin, we still have to moisturize. We still need hydration. And if you're not educating yourself on what products you're using, you are stripping the skin repeatedly. And then the sebaceous glands, which are part of the immune system, are automatically going to produce more oil. And so to have this kind of hydration balance, you're sort of finding some homeostasis to stabilize the skin so then it can start to heal itself. So that's awesome. So let's talk about moisturizer.
Yes. So our moisturizer, it has a lot of, we wanted to focus on, again, skin barrier, right? Protecting your skin barrier, moisturizing your skin, keeping your skin at its normal pH, but also protecting it with antioxidants. So we do that with hyaluronic acid, CoQ10, niacinamide, glycerin, um, licorice root extract, and kojic acid dipalmitate. Those two ingredients actually help with the tyrosinase inhibitor pathway that actually helps reduce those discolorations. And but the kojic acid dipalmitate is actually a more gentle form of kojic acid. So we were always thinking, especially the chemist helped us with, yes, this is your goal. Yes, this is one ingredient you can use, but let's find the more gentle ingredient so that because we are dealing with, teen skin. So, yeah.
So less is more, less is more,
Right.
less is more,
Yeah.
always less is more. And you're
So I
teaching them
wanted
that.
to-
There's nothing wrong with you. You don't need 20
Right,
products.
right.
Go ahead, Marjorie.
No, I was just going to say, to add to what Wintai was saying, everything, and this is where we learned so much from the chemist, everything was about the gentle form. So salicylic acid is an ingredient that's really popular in a lot of skincare, but it can be harsh, right? I experienced how harsh and tough it could be on my skin, even as an adult. So we opted for willow bark extract, which is actually where salicylic acid is derived from. But we chose the more organic original form because that was the more gentle form. So that's like an example of using something that can be in an adult product. They can see it in their mom's product, but for their skin, it's safer and it's more gentle.
So would you say that you had to overcome some obstacles? Because I know that going through the ingredients, money is a big issue on what ingredients you're picking and how much of it you can add and you can afford to get it to packaging, to get it out there. And I know that you two methodically took your time because this wasn't about getting something fast on the shelf, right? So were there any obstacles that you guys had that going through and really picking and choosing the ingredients in which that were the most important to you? Could you share a little bit about that part of the journey?
Mm.
Just
I can't say I thought ingredients were the challenge, but you could correct me if I'm wrong. I thought it was more the testing. Because after we put everything together, it was really about testing. But go ahead, Wintai.
Well, I would say the ingredients, it was more of a non-negotiable for us, right? Like we needed these ingredients and we knew we were going to eh, pay more because of the minimum order quantity, the size we were ordering. So for us, we just told the chemist, like, this is what we want. And we didn't really say, well, what's the cheaper form? Or is there a cheaper alternative? That was never part of our discussion because we want, Inclu is a brand that is based also, our ethos is on quality. So for us, being gentle, quality ingredients, safe ingredients, those were our defining principles for our ethos. And that leads us into the testing. One challenge we did many testings, but one safety test we did reach a challenge in was when we were finalizing with an independent lab to do an HRIPT study. And that's a safety study basically to make sure that our products are safe and non-irritating. And when we were finalizing the testing parameters, we asked about, okay, so what is in this 102 participant panel, what are the skin tones represented? And their answer really surprised us. They basically told us, oh, well, if you want all skin tones represented through the Fitzpatrick scale, which is the fairest to the deepest, you'll have to pay extra. And that shocked us because how can you say something is non-irritating if you haven't really tested it across all skin tones? And so then we realized this industry, like, this is not an industry standard. This is just an add-on feature. And that really gave that fuel of like understanding why we have to pursue our brand and clue and all of our defining principles. And so of course we paid it, right? We paid the extra fee because being inclusive is a non-negotiable for us. But it really opened our eyes to understand how this industry works and who we need to partner with in the future, how we need to advocate for our customers to make sure that our defining principles are that we're able to execute on our defining principles. But we do realize the barriers that we're facing through the testing.
Sure. Now, what would you say, what's your target audience? What's your target buyer age-wise?
Our teens.
Teens.
Yeah.
Well, we'd have to be clear to the listeners. We want them to know what it is that we're talking about here. So teens, tweens, and in between, even the college students who still have teen skin, because they're always going through a little bit of something.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
yeah,
teens, but everyone can use it.
I got it. I
Yeah.
understand totally. I just want the viewers to understand because they, we can't just assume they know without us sharing step by step
Absolutely.
with them. So this is their first time being introduced to you and to your amazing products and your company and the heart that's behind it for the creation and the passion that's there. So, well, you were talking about testing, and I always find it very interesting when things say dermatology tested, right? Or dermatology approved. So in your putting all of this together, what did you guys learn about that statement that's on a lot of packaging? Oh yeah, that's a loaded question that could take a whole section of this.
Yeah. Listen, it's the business is interesting. You can do a lot of very surface basic things and not have done the real work. So you can pay a company essentially to say, have a dermatologist review this and say that, a panel agreed to it, that dermatologists did take a look at it and have that done. Whether they sat down and tried and tested the product themselves and put it on their skin or anything, that's not a guarantee. That's not even per se what may have happened. So we understood that even though it was important to have a dermatologist review it, we did a clinical study, and that was over 100 people who sat down and tested this product for several weeks. And that to us was the more thorough, effective way to test the product.
And
Yes,
to piggyback, it was also the study was conducted by a dermatologist. But what we've realized in this process is that you can buy what you want with money.
Yes, you can have just about any label on anything with money.
Yeah.
And it's such a generic and broad statement. Dermatology tested. Okay. That's so broadband, right? So there's a couple of things I want to get into here. And one would be, you strive for superior ingredients to reach your target audience. And so that was really important to you to make sure that it was cleaner and higher quality and effective. And the percentages in there were more than what the standard, across the board in these OTCs, over the counter products have. So what about your packaging? How did you feel about your packaging and how to design your packaging with as much care?
Can I show it?
Yes.
Okay.
And by the way, viewers, you may
I don't
be
know if you can see it.
you may be listening to us on social media platforms, but if you hop over to Sandra McEllish YouTube, you can meet these beautiful ladies and see, pictures and voices and personalities. So put that up there again because I was talking.
Okay.
Yeah, just put it back just a little bit, I think. Yeah. Oh, keeps disappearing and you're there you go. There you go. Perfect. Love the colors. So let's talk about that packaging and how you design that, because that there was as much that went into that as it did with the quality within it.
So when we talked about for focus groups at the beginning, and we were women in our 40s, and so we weren't going to assume that we knew what young people wanted. We assumed nothing, actually. So when we did our focus groups, we asked them about colors. We asked them about, we knew, to what Wintai had alluded to earlier, we sat down with our brand story and with our ethos, right? And so we knew we wanted to have a product that was exciting, one that gave education, one that had energy to it. And so we got that information from our young study participants, and they're the ones who guided us in terms of color. They're the ones who guided us in terms of the language. Let's face it, we asked them what they felt about that. They're the ones who told us what they thought was interesting in the market, like a pump versus something else, right? So we had those conversations, and every single thing that's on that packaging had their thoughts and their input in mind. How we named it, what information we put on the packaging. Really, in that aspect, a lot of teens said, you know what, I leave that part to my mom or my dad. And so we asked the parents, what would you like to see on the packaging? And so we gave that information there, as opposed to, we made decisions between, should we put a QR code or should we not? What was more intriguing? What would be more interesting? I think literally every touch point of our brand was inspired by teens and what they needed and wanted. And we wanted something, because of our stories, because there was nothing in the market when I was a teen that showed what Marjorie wanted. I wanted something, Wintai wanted something that reflected them. So even in our marketing and in our branding, we have the full spectrum from the lightest skin to the darkest skin, because we don't want anybody to feel excluded in it. We have the language that they understand. We have the information that they want to read about and to hear about. We've even included a feature where you can ask to speak with us or text with us about the products or about what you want to see for the future of Include, because speaking to our demographic is foundational to our brand and to the success of the brand.
Yeah. I think our biggest challenge with packaging is, once again, we had to find like a company that would allow us for such a low minimum order quantity. Um, you can't just go online, find a company and say, "Hey, I want to work with you," because they have their minimums that they will, you know, will require. And so a lot of the companies we were interested in, they would say to us, sorry, 10,000 units is our minimum order quantity, and it has to be 10,000 per SKU. We have 2 SKUs, right? Moisturizer, cleanser. And we started with 5,000 units. And that was really difficult in finding a company that was willing to work under like a small business, just launching. I think also the lingo, there's a lot of, I wish there was like this cheat sheet terminology of terms that you would understand which one, what it means. So you're going back and forth with multiple email chains of discussing like minute details of a packaging. And it's like a foreign language. So that was a huge learning curve for us about, we were constantly clarifying and what does this mean? What does that mean? That was that was very daunting. Yeah.
Well, it sounds to me like, your ingredients and everything that it not only reflects your personality, but the personalities of those that came before you to put their input in, the young people, the parents, everyone that was involved. And so if your skin line had a superpower, what would it be? And why would it be your superpower? Like if one skincare, you know, within that, one ingredient in there, what's the superpower?
Ooh.
One ingredient? Oh my goodness.
What
We
one ingredient or
So
just
my audience knows nothing's ever rehearsed. So we just go with it, take a time to breathe and think about it. Maybe I just threw you a curveball, but I was just thinking, like, what's the superpower? Come on.
it doesn't have to be ingredients, right? Anything.
Doesn't it? Just could be if the
Yeah.
skincare line
Okay.
had a superpower, what would it be?
Mm.
In your opinion, you could both have two different opinions.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm sure we will. You know what? As soon as you asked that and I stepped back, the first thing that popped in for me was a voice. The superpower of this brand is your voice, right? We came from a background where, again, our voices weren't heard in the industry, right? We did not have products that were truly going to help us and to reflect our needs. I just told you a statistic. Over 50% of female buyers aren't even happy with their skincare, much less to speak about teens, right? So if I had to pick a superpower, in my opinion, it would be Inclu's voice. That Inclu is the voice of so many people that have not been heard. They're the voice of teens. They're the voice of different ethnic groups. They're the voice of educators. It's the voice of parents. It's a voice that speaks to building a community that can talk about their experience in a safe and healthy environment. It's the voice that can ask for what it needs and get a response from its finders, from its from its founders. It's a voice that can say we demand more, we expect more, we are investing in this industry, and you need to give us what it is we need and what we want in a healthy way. So
Mm.
that was my instant thought when you
I
asked.
love it.
Yeah.
I love it. All right,
Yeah.
Wintai, superpower.
Okay, superpower. I would say um, Inclu's superpower, from my perspective, is the confidence and the possibility of new confidence for the next generation. And I will say this because going back to my daughter's story, that was 3 years, almost 3 years ago. Yeah, no, 3 years ago. That was Thanksgiving 2022, right? Yeah, Thanksgiving 2022. So now, since the last 3 years, my daughter has been intimately involved with watching Include grow and watching Marjorie and I, create something. And she recently started middle school and she came home within the first week of middle school and she was like, Mommy, I love middle school. I need to sign up for, you know, chorus and debate club and, student government, all while she's already taking 6 hours of dance, right? So then I look at her and I'm like, that's way too much. Like, you're too busy. And she's like, well, Mommy, you're doing it. You're busy. And I realized, oh my gosh, all these years, she's like the power of example. And it just, I shared it with Marjorie, like it just warmed my heart that, I grew up in a very immigrant, household where very strict, you had to get a stable job, get an education, max out your retirement, and then also save responsibly, make responsible, safe decisions. Being risky or following your passion was not really encouraged. So my daughter has watched us create something that's, we're taking a risk, right? We're self funded. And she has now realized that she's going to try something different. She wants to just she's confident, she's trying new things, and that is a new normal for her. And so I hope with Inclu for the next generations that we are creating this like fierce confidence.
That is very powerful because not only are you creating results, you are creating the confidence in the voice for the here and the now, and then for the generations to come to build upon that. because it takes courage to step out. And it takes courage to start from the bottom and learn and then create and then see your creation come to fruition. And then to be able to see the impact that that has. And knowing that you can put your head on the pillow at night, that you did everything you could, that you spent your time, your talent, and your treasury on something that was super heartfelt. And children do as they see. They will do as they see. And we need more mentors and out here to show people, our young people especially, step out of the box. Okay, great. I'm a nurse doing this over here, but guess what? There was a need and a feeling and a togetherness that created this over here. So, but I can do both very successfully, but I have to be methodical about it and set the time about it and be a little bit more scheduled about it and divide my time up into a million different things as we as women do, but still sit back, nurture, love ourselves, and share care. And the product itself is infused with each of your hearts and with love, and it's with care, and it's with high quality that offers something for everyone's skin type, skin care, skin need, regardless of if you actually are a teen. But the fact that our teens need so much guidance, that you've created something to help guide them. And maybe from making this introduction, they can now move on to something else and add to that as your product line grows. So before we close, tell everybody where they can find these products, please.
That's exciting. Wentai, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So you can find us. We're direct to consumer to start at include.store. And we are also on IG, Facebook, and TikTok at include.skincare.
And you can stay posted on our social media. We will let you know when we are at different pop-up shops. We're collaborating with various shops in Bethesda and all over the state of Maryland. So we will definitely keep you posted and let you know when you can meet us in person and come and get your products in person and have a conversation, take some pictures, do whatever activity we have included with that pop-up shop. So that's also an opportunity to get involved and get in touch with us if you are interested. So
yeah. Meet the creators, meet the founders, before you get too big and then nobody can touch you because you're going to be so busy, right?
Well, we will always want to stay in touch with our community for sure. So God willing, we get big, but God willing, we stay in touch. Like that's how we started. That is our root. That's ethos. So that's the goal.
Yeah, and it's quality versus quantity. Quantity can grow from quality, but as long as we keep our roots where our mission statement is and why we actually started in the beginning, because we see these things get steamrolled, and next thing you know, you take another leap over here, and everyone's untouchable. So I commend you on starting all of this, and I'm just so lucky that you're in my DC, Maryland, Virginia area, and yeah, so everybody just stay in touch. I'll have the links in the description of all of their social media and their website. And we will have these beautiful ladies on again to talk about how things are growing, what their comments are, what people's experiences are, and yeah, to keep it moving. But Wentai and Marjorie, would you have anything else you'd like to share with the viewers today?
Oh.
I think I just want to share that we are definitely interested in partnering with youth organizations, schools, and parents to really help us with our brand awareness and educating our teens on healthy skin care habits.
Yeah. We have to start with that hygiene. It's really important. I think our teens don't realize they need to change their pillowcases twice a week, and the importance of hydration, and when they're reaching for those, power drinks because someone else has it, or that, inhaling that 20-minute ridiculous lunchbox, or where you're buying your lunch, you're running out the door with half a waffle in your mouth, or, we have to teach people for accountability and responsibility. And what better place to start when the teens are so scattered everywhere, and they're having disruptions in their skin. And that's the first thing they see, but that's the window to open the door and the pathway to so many other health conscious nutritional things to do, not just topical skincare, which I think you will branch out to, is what my intuition is popping in here. So, oh my gosh, girls, our time has gone and we'll definitely have you back on. I want you to stay put for a moment. I'm going to say goodbye to the audience and then I want you all to say goodbye. So, everybody, welcome. And thank you so much for tuning in to Keep It Spiritually Simple. Again, your support is extremely important to get these videos circulating so they wind up on somebody else's platform unexpectedly, but at divine timing. So, hitting that like, subscribe, that share, leaving a comment, mentioning this channel to someone is critically important because all of our guests here have something to say and you listeners have things you would like to hear. So let's say goodbye, Wintai and Marjorie.
Thank you.
Thanks
All
so much.
right. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.